You are not in the universe. The universe is in you. You are not in the universe. The universe is in you. When a sensation arises in you. When you are aware of something, you are aware of it within you. Everything arises in you. The only separation that exists is a separation that you have been conditioned and then believe in. That separation is formed of language. It's an idea that you have of who you are. But you are not an idea. An idea is a concept. What is a concept? A concept is a mental construct. A mental construct. You were not born with any mental constructs, my friends. You were not born with any mental constructs, were you? Were you born with mental constructs? Were you born already knowing how to speak and creating ideas of who you think you are? Who you think you are? It's very abstract. Were you? Of course you were not. You were not. You were born free. Wake up. Once you see that, what is seen cannot be unseen. Once you see, you cannot unsee it. It's so obvious. And that's the problem. Why is that a problem? Because we are used to seeing everything through the conditioned mind, based on the illusion of a little me that we were not born with. Were you born with a little me? No, you were not. That has been conditioned. You have been taught and assimilated, and through your beliefs and through consistency, in other words, through being bombarded with the idea of a little me, the advertising world loves to take advantage of the little me. I'm not saying this is bad or good. I'm going to stay very neutral here, because this is not what it's about. It's not about negativity or positivity. It's about allowing you and helping you to see who you really are, so that we can end once and for all this ridiculous delusion that has grabbed our world. Look at the world now. The hatred, the discrimination, it is so unnecessary, because it's based fundamentally on the premise of a mind-made concept, a construct using words. Every single word that you know is not original to you. You've been taught that word. Every word, every sound, and we're talking about the entire gamut of linguistics, from phonetics, phonology, semantics, etc. They're all programmed states and conceptual models, paradigms, ideas that have, and you continue to keep that illusion, that little me. The idea is just an idea. It's just a thought. Thoughts are coming and going. You cannot be a concept. You cannot be a thought. Thoughts are what make up concepts. Why can't you be a thought? Because a thought does not have permanence. A thought is coming and going, my friends. You are observing that. You're observing the whole thing. The thought arises within you and it disappears within you. The less attention you give to your thoughts, they will disappear by themselves. You have never had a thought that's remained. Never. You have never. And please confirm this for yourself. Ever since you were born, there has not been a single thought that's been there 24/7, 24 hours a day, at the same frequency, at the same level, and at the same intensity. Has there? Have you had one thought that's been exactly the same, non-stop? I mean, it's the whole thing that's happening the whole time. If same, no, of course you haven't. You have had different thoughts. I'm happy. I'm sad. I've got to go to work. I've got to do this. Notice it's always changing. That's your clue, my friends. That's your clue. If a thought is gone and you identify yourself as that thought, when the thought is gone, if you had been the thought, Once the thought is gone, you would also be gone. Maybe yesterday there was a few minutes, a thought came, and it made you happy or it made you sad. Nothing can make you feel anything, by the way. That thought that you felt made you happy or sad. Where is that thought now? Your answer is, well, it's not here now. Okay, so then the thought was not you. If you had been the thought, when the thought is gone, you would be gone. You would not be here to talk about it. What does that mean? That means you witnessed it. You witnessed the thought. You were here before the thought arose. You're here during the thought. And when the thought is gone, that's it. You're still here, aren't you? Now, you're still here, but as what? So if you're not the thought, same thing with emotions. You might have felt excited, you might have felt anxious. But emotions come and go, don't they? If you were anxious and you said, I am anxious, are you really anxious? Or is the idea that you have of who you are suffering from its own projection of being anxious? Let me say that again. When you say, I am anxious, are you, the real you, your permanent conscious, you're just pure conscious awareness. That's all you are. That's all you've ever been. That's all that exists eternally. Conscious awareness. It has no form. It just is what is here. And that's what all these great traditions, all these spiritual masters, this is what they've all been talking about. And that's why it's so elusive. That's why it's so hard to find, because we have been misdirected since babies to believe in a conceptual, in a mind-based reality, which is actually not real at all. If it were real, you would be born like that, but you're not. Realize that. Wake up. When you realize that, it just changes everything. It's a very subtle thing because it's always here. It's like when you take a fish out of the water. The fish, when a fish is born in water, it doesn't realize it's in water. It only starts freaking out when you take the fish out of water. Then, for the first time, it's not able to breathe, right? Because it can't breathe outside of water, right? It's like us. We're born as pure conscious awareness. It's only when you can try to look at it, and you cannot see yourself, that's the thing, because you are pure conscious awareness. How can you see what you are? You cannot be what you observe, right? Glasses. Can I be these glasses? Well, from the third dimension, from the material dimension, where it seems to be, which is illusory, by the way. The material dimension is illusory. It's been proven by science already. What's inside this is a bunch of atoms, and it's mostly space. The human body, this has been proven by science already. But don't go there. Don't go to thoughts, because this is the whole point of this channel, is to get away from concepts to realize your true nature. But science has recognized that in the body, with the atoms, there's much more space in between the atoms than in the atoms themselves. I think there was one gentleman, I forget his name, I think Billy Carson or something, he just said something interesting. And just, don't believe in anything that anybody says. You always have to find the truth within yourself. But he said something I found fascinating, that if you take all the human beings on this planet, they say that there's about 8 billion people on this planet, right? That's what they say. I don't know. And if you take them all together, all of the atoms together, of the 8 billion people, all of those atoms, this is mind-blowing, will fit in a small little sugar cube, because the rest is just space. You are pretty much space. That's it. You're just space. Everything else is a construct. You live through concepts because you were programmed through concepts. So you need to wake up from that. If you want an extremely fulfilling life, if you want to thrive as a human being and understand the reason you're here, you need to wake up from concepts. That's the bottom line, my friends. I just don't know how much more direct I can be than that. Well, that's why I recommend, this channel is, the only reason I have this is to help wake up, because if it hadn't been for that, I would probably not be around here. I struggle a lot in my life. And I want to use my struggles to help you. So, if you are feeling this has to be intuitive, okay? Don't think about anything that I'm saying. Try to be still and clear your mind when you're listening to this. And if there's something that you listen to and it goes, okay, he said something, I love this, okay, go back, listen to it again. Go back, listen to it again. Sit still. Once you have that aha moment, it's like, wow, okay, wow, I like that. I like what he said. If you like that, don't continue watching. Just stop the video and let that marinate within your understanding. Ken Wilbert, brilliant mind, he said, the witness and the witnessed, so whatever you're witnessing, is one. When this is seen, all seeking ends. The moment you try to grasp the infinite, you have already imagined yourself separate from it. Let me repeat that. The moment you try to grasp the infinite, you have already imagined yourself separate from it. What causes the separation? Because I remember when I started this path 2 decades ago, probably, long time ago, when I had interest, and I credit a lot to my mother, was an extremely esoteric, was interested in the esoteric, was a very open-minded human being. And one of the videos I quoted before, which I recommend, I said this to my daughter, mind is like a parachute. If it's not open, it doesn't work. So keep an open mind. Why? Because otherwise you're limiting yourself in this life. Because then you will limit yourself to dogmas. What is a dogma? A dogma is a belief system. You were not born with dogmas, they have been conditioned in your mind. And if you blindly follow dogmas, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of this. This is all a play, my friends. And that's another thing you realize. You stop taking it so seriously when you actually wake up. Because you realize it's all you. And it's very innocent in a way. Because the true self knows nothing about this. This is all fabricated by the little me. Through thoughts. So the moment you try to grasp the infinite, meaning the moment you try to grasp who you really are, you have already imagined yourself separate from it. So don't try to grasp it conceptually, because the second you give it to your thoughts, to your mind, you automatically create that separation, because the mind operates in duality. That's right. The mind operates in duality. Subject, object. Subject, object. When you wake up, you realize there has never been a subject and an object. It's all subject. It's all subject. It's all appearing within you. You are orchestrating all of this. You will never understand it with the mind, so don't try. That's the whole point. I want to leave you with a brief exercise. I spoke about this in the last video. Listen to that one. That would really help you. And also watch the video Observe with Detachment. Hopefully that will help. That's helped a lot of people already, so watch that one. Whenever you feel called to, or whenever you remember, or even in times of stress, that's usually the best to do it, is when you're stressed out, because then it's more intense. So use the intensity to transcend the fabricated psychological ego. Use the intensity of your experience to transcend the psychological, contrived, conditioned, conceptual, made up ego. How? Sit still. Whenever you remember, go to a quiet place. Drop all of your thoughts. I did a video on timeout, right? When you just stop, just drop it. How has it served you? How has it served you to keep incessantly going back and back and back and back? You might have figured something out. Oh, I need to figure it out. Okay, but just wait a little bit. New things will come, new challenge, and it never ends. It's just over and over again. I wish I could just without talking, just, and that's what Ramana Maharshi, like a, he had a massive spontaneous, I never had a spontaneous awakening. I had different stages, even though there are no stages, right? Until I finally went like, wow, okay, now I finally got it. And that was, years ago, but, and then assimilating the recognition, assimilating the understanding that you are really everything and nothing. This is just one happening that's happening nowhere. There is no time. You also realize that time is an illusion. One way to kind of tell that is that time is also not constant. Have you ever experienced where time seems to go quickly, but then when you're focused on time, it seems to go slower? I remember when I was a kid in school, I never liked school. I was too restless. I thought it was very limiting, and that was already a sign for me. So I would sit in school and I would look at the clock, 105, 106. I thought 15 minutes already passed. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like our perception of time is very relative. It's relative. Everything is relative, right? It depends on your perspective and your point of view. So you need to just wake up, sit still, give yourself a timeout, breathe a little bit, open your senses, start using your senses. Your senses are not part of the psychological identity. They're just here and now. They don't belong to anybody. They're just allows you what to experience. So let them be there. Allow everything to be what it is. Allow everything to be what it is. Don't resist anything, because whatever you resist will persist. What you resist persists. So accept, allow. If you are resisting, let yourself resist. If you are resisting resistance, which happens as well automatically because of our programming, then allow yourself to resist the resistance. Allow yourself to resist the resistance. This is like a perfect opportunity to stop the video and let that sink in, for example, okay? The last thing, my friends, I don't make this channel for any other reason than to help you. So I am open to have a one-on-one conversation, one-on-one video. I've already done a few, and they were beautiful meetings. I'm not charging for that. I don't believe in that. This is sacred to me. This is the most sacred thing I've ever seen in my life. How can I ever charge for something like that? Because you are me, I am you. The only separation is really your psychological misunderstanding, misplaced identity. So if you want to go deeper, if you want help, and if you want to look with me, I will help you look. Send me an email. I hope you have a beautiful day. And just remember, give yourself a timeout. Take a moment and observe everything with detachment. Let it be there. Why? Because it's going to come and go by its own law, by its own accord. You don't have to do anything. The more you do that, the more in the space of awareness you are. And in the space of awareness, of conscious presence, you are able to observe much more. And then you're going to start seeing. It's really interesting, actually. Interesting is maybe not the word. But you start to see the little idiosyncrasies of the fabricated delusion of a little me, the little neurotic things that the mind says. In the past, you would think it's you. Yeah, that's right. No, it's not you. Drop it. How is it serving you? How has the neurotic mind served you in this life, besides a lot of stress, possibly depression, anxiety, misunderstanding between human beings, jealousy? All of these little psychological things, jealousy, extreme unhealthy ambition, workaholism, all of these things, they just settle beautifully. Just like muddy water, just like Alan Watts says, if you have water that's been muddied, right? It's been manipulated somehow, like let's say a boat just went through a lake that has mud at the bed of the lake. Of course, the lake will go from clear to muddy because it's been manipulated somehow. If you keep trying to manipulate to make the mud settle, in other words, if you keep playing with the water because you want clear water, and that's what we're taught, is to try to manipulate things. All you do is you're getting in the way, because if you just leave the water alone, that's the quickest way to let the mud settle and then the water to be clear again. Does that make sense? That's Alan Watts. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. Bless you.